Good morning, everybody. Sorry for the delay. We have a large turnout for partner passes, and hopefully everybody will be staying for the meeting. We're gonna call the meeting to order now. So a couple of our board members are handing out passes and so forth, but we're gonna carry on with the meeting. Jeff is gonna do roll call for us.
Brian. Here. Lori. Chris Pops.
Here.
Jeff.
Here.
Nancy.
Here.
Dave.
Here.
Julia, where are you?
Down there.
She's out there. All present and accounted for.
Thank you. We also have, right, absent is Craig and Cassie Jacoby. And also we have Lisa Holberg, our treasurer, and of course Lynn Chrissy, our tax collector over there waiting. So I want to thank you all for being here today. Your attendance and participation are an important part of making our community strong. I would also like to thank our Board of Governors. Every member of the board volunteers countless hours throughout the year, and I truly appreciate the dedication and commitment. We work together as a team to preserve, maintain, and continually improve the community we are all proud to call home. I'd like to briefly talk about communication. Keeping our members informed takes a great deal of time and effort. Throughout the season, we communicate through email blasts, our weekly newsletter, website updates, Facebook, and our kiosks. As you see, we have new kiosks now. And we do that to share important information about meetings, events, projects, and community news. We greatly appreciate those of you that take the time to read these communications. We are committed to keeping you informed, but communication is a partnership. So with that being said, we ask that you do your part by reading the information we provide and staying engaged with what's happening in our community. An informed membership helps make for a stronger, more connected community. I'd also like to mention that this year, we will have one vacancy on the Board of Governors, along with 3 incumbent positions on the ballot. We are looking for someone to serve as Second Beach representative. Nancy will be stepping down and leaving us. If you have ever considered becoming more involved in helping shape the future of our community, I encourage you to do so. Please reach out to Gail Kincaid if you are interested in serving on the Board of Governors. We are always looking for dedicated volunteers who want to help our community stay strong. Lastly, many of you have noticed the recent fish kill, particularly involving bluegill. We have learned that bluegill spawn during May and June, which is particularly stressful time for the species. Following the exceptionally harsh winter we experienced, it is not unusual to see a higher than normal die-off during the spawning season. We wanted to share this information with the community since many of you have expressed concern. I think some people may have thought that it was something more than a natural cause. Thank you for your continued support, for being an important part of Lake Hayward. We're going to move on to financial reports, and I'm going to have Lisa go first as our treasurer. We're going to go a little bit out of order because Lynn is a little busy. So Lisa, if you wouldn't mind.
Good morning. Not going to lie to you, I remembered this meeting 20 minutes ago, so I don't have anything prepared. But I will say that this year's budget we're in budget. It's tight, so our budget committee did a great job predicting. We have some line items that weren't, and some line items that weren't, but we're going to be under budget. Additionally, I just want to say this: I have a bird's eye view of everything, what volunteerism is in this community. So as a treasurer, I just wanted to say thank you because I'm completely supported when I have a question or which direction we should go in. But the Board of Governors and the volunteers in this community, I'm completely supported. And they're very patient with me. We're picking up I've been working with two different software programs. One that we've always worked with, one that we transitioned to. Our financial, our accountant that does our financial review every year asks that we transition to QuickBooks so that we're online in the cloud and we can't lose anything. And it's actually worked really well. It's been a trying year, but we have had some trying moments with me trying to balance two different softwares. And again, thank you for all your patience. And we did get it down to dry nuts, but it's all good. And if anybody ever has any questions, you can reach out to my email. I can provide any information you want. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. We're going to move on to Lynn now because she's ready. She's really not, she's busy, but
So Lynn Chrissy, I'm the tax collector. Thank you very much for everyone who's shown up and picking up your taxes. I very much appreciate it. One of the things you will notice, it looks a little different this year. There are 2 installments on, and this is your tax district bill. So this is your usual association bill. Because we have an assessment this year, we are allowing you the option of 2 installments, one due in January of this year, as well as the one in July. So it's a 50-50 split. That's why it looks a little different. Just saying, no penalty for early payment if you want to pay in full. Putting it out there. I will say a couple of words about the assessment. I think that people, are worried about it or wondering about it. I know you're going to hear a lot more. But for budgeting purposes, it will be coming out in September. It will mail out to the permanent address, and that would be the address shown on your bill as your permanent address. If it's not correct, please let me know. And please collect it with the town of East Haddam, because by correcting it with East Haddam, your records to us are also updated. For purposes of budgeting, look at your total property bill, multiply it by 2. That's probably what you're looking at. It may even be a little less. Can't promise that, but for purposes of budgeting, your total property bill, your association bill times 2 is probably a pretty good rule of thumb to look at for September. Other things, we are 100% collected again this year. Thank you very much, everyone. It's very much appreciated. Any questions? All right, I'll be in the back.
thank you, Lynn. I want to just tack on to, this has to do with taxes. So I wanted to tack on to what Lynn said. As you all know, we are having the special assessment that Lynn just affirmed that will come out September 1st. When we did the referendum, we offered 2 mill rates, one using the $50,000 of the reserves and the other not. And overwhelmingly, it passed to use the reserves. And at the time, the mill rate was, I think it's 6.88 that was projected. I also want to let everybody know that we are still seeking funding. And on top of that, there is an initiative on the East Shore to contribute, and anything that they contribute will be deducted from that mill rate for you. And thus far, I'm proud to say, since I think the end of May, we're almost up to 28,000 from the East Shore. So we have until July 15th for them to continue to contribute, and they have been steadily coming in before we decide what our mill rate will be. But anything else they contribute towards the dam after that will still go towards the project. And again, if there's overage at the end, and whatever the overage may be, I don't want to throw numbers out there. But if there is overage, we'll then decide what to do with it depending on what it is. And perhaps some will go back to replenish the reserves, and or some will go back into the next year's operating budget to provide relief on taxes for the following year. So we're doing our best to help everybody with the taxes. We know this is not an easy assessment for anybody, not for me. So so I just wanted, is there any questions on any of that? Okay. So I wanted to tack that on with Lynn's taxes. So we're going to move into lake quality, and Denny Lane. Where'd you go, Denny? Denny Lane is our lake quality chair, and he doesn't look like Corinne, but he's going to give you some really good information. So.
Well, thank you. So by way of introduction, I'm Denny Lane, 241 Lakeshore, celebrating our 61st year here at the lake. And to clarify one point, thank you. With Corinne's departure, many of you have worked with her very closely on the lake quality. She's actually, we live in North Carolina. She moved to the next town in North Carolina. So we do see her occasionally, but we couldn't fill those big shoes with one. So Lori and I are co-chairing lake quality. So just to clarify her point there. Okay, so a couple things here. I know there's been a lot of discussion about lake weeds and what's going on. So let me give you first a little bit of background. So the goal of the Lake Quality Improvement Committee, or LQIP, is to in fact maintain, if not improve, the quality of the lake. Just like the dam situation, if the lake quality is our biggest, in the presence of it, the biggest asset, one of the biggest assets we have provided here. So with the focus on the dam, we've not had quite as much money this year, but we're still maintaining all the key things that we've done in the past years. Okay, so the LQIP team, about 8 members, about half from the east side and half from the west side. Those of you might have seen I think there were about 25 people that were here last week to see Wolf Costa's presentation on the blue-green algae, which we looked at. So we've done a number of things. We've collected literally decades of data, the various teams. So we have regular E. coli testing at the beaches to make sure the water is healthy for swimming. We have a deep water program off of kind of Second Beach, gets to about 35 feet. So every other week we go out and test the water there for clarity, for oxygen level. We also have stream inputs. So in all the places where the water comes into the lake, we've had a number of years. That is one thing we had to cut back on this year, but we have a lot of data and have some good ideas of where the nutrients that are coming into the lake and feeding the weeds come from. And so as far as weeds, the algae, there's an invasive weed program. We work with a company called Solitude Lake Management, and we have a permit with the state environmental quality group to treat our lake with a chemical. We've had that for a number of years. We really is focused specifically on invasive weeds. So if you think of the lake as a blank canvas, and not exactly every year it starts fresh, but as the ice comes off and the lake starts to start again, you get different weeds going up each year a little bit. So we're looking at things like milfoil, fanwort is the big one, hydrilla people hear about. We've never seen hydrilla in the lake. And hydrilla looks like a lot of the lakes, so there are a lot of things we can do to maintain that. It is in the Connecticut River, so it's nearby. Please look at the signs and be very cautious if you're moving boats in and out. There are legal things you have to do to clean your boat off so you don't transport it. But we've really worked hard to get down the fanwort. Back in 22, 40% of the lake in the surveying had fanwort in it. Now we're down to just a couple percent, and that's what we're managing. So we have a pre-survey, 107 sites. You might have heard the little motorboat out here a couple weeks back. They do literally physical sampling, and they look at all the, at 101 sites around the lake, what are the individual species? About 30, a little over 30 were identified. And the one that people are starting to see is a little patch out here. Eladia, it's called, common lakeweed, is a naturally occurring. It's not an invasive species. It does look a little bit like milfoil, so a number of people have been commenting about that. But our permit does not allow us to treat that. We cannot go after that. We have a permit to do 20 acres, which is a little under about 10% of the lake, specifically on Fanwood. So the goal is to continue to do that. We will look, 2 years ago, we didn't see any of this Eladia in there. And so that blank sheet every year, as we get rid of some of one of the theories is if we get rid of the invasive, it opens it up for some of the natural ones to grow. So I agree, it's not fun to swim through it, but we just don't have the ability to go attack it directly. And I think about it. A couple of things we are working on the detention pond for the misbehaving children. Oh, no, sorry. The detention pond over here by the basketball court for the water coming down the hill. A lot of work went into that. It's not working quite right. So a lot of the nutrients are going right on in. So that's one of the things the team is going to work on, hopefully over the current year. Fairly low cost thing, and we hopefully will plant some plants in there to allow it to get the nutrients out before it goes into the lake. Other than that, detention, what can you do? All right, so can you go out and pull the weeds out? Well, we're not really able to tell you can't, but there are weeds that as they break apart, they propagate even more. So think about like a dandelion and you blow the seeds, pulling the weeds out can actually have that effect. But we will look year to year how it's going, and if there is a potential to go and change our permits to go after weeds that are that we're not able to go after today. So what can you do? Minimize fertilizer. You know, the nutrients you put to make the nice green lawns also make the weeds grow nice and healthy out there. So I'm not saying that's what's causing it. Also pump your septics. That is all. There's a lot of houses here. This is a very dense area for a very small lake. All that goes downhill and feeds the weeds as well. So, any questions? Yes, sir.
You mentioned the state of Connecticut had a process. You mentioned the state of Connecticut had a process. I'm sorry, Keith Marvin, 17 Ridgewood. You mentioned that the state has a process for cleaning boats that are coming in from somewhere else. So, I'm not talking about people who live at the lake and come and go. But if some of these people are bringing boats from the river and from other states and everywhere else, does that process require them to have some kind of a certificate or something that can be verified that the boat has been treated properly before it comes into the lake, or is it just a Hail Mary?
Very good question. And it's a good faith. It is the law, and there are fines if you're not cleaning your boat off. And there are signs, and we can maybe post it again to the website, but at the boat launch, there's very specific things you have to do. Clean the weeds off your boat. When you get it out, it's got to dry for a period of time. You have to be able to clean it with some like vinegar or bleach or things. So there are very specific things you need to do. It's part of getting your boating license. But you know, people speed and they shouldn't speed. People don't take the weeds off their boat, so there's not often a police, but I have seen police down there looking at that, and the environmental protection police are out here occasionally monitoring. So it's mainly a good faith effort. Yes. Yeah. Is the testing done in the South Cove? In your name and address? Okay. In South Cove being all of the silver.
Please come up to the microphone and state your name and address.
And what are you considering South Cove, like down Second Beach? By the dam. Testing happens all the way around the lake as part of the weed look. And so yes, they're looking at the weed population there, and if there's specific invasive weeds, then the program will be treating. One thing I neglected to say is our treatment is coming up on the 8th. So Wednesday the 8th, every year, just right after the 4th of July holiday, we treat the lake. There'll be signs, might not be this color, but it'll look like this, went out in the newsletter to say the day we're treating it, Wednesday the 8th, And we recommend that not going in the water until the next day. Now, technically, DEEP will tell you that the chemical is not a problem, that you can go and use the water that day. But I think Corinne started this years ago. We've added a day buffer so people aren't on the lake while they're doing the treatment. The chemical does move around, so we suggest not going into the water, using the water, boating. And then there's irrigation is even a later date. So don't drink it, don't cook with it, don't boat, don't feed your livestock. So I guess I'm not quite sure I finished it. So we do look at the lake down there, and if there are weeds that we're going after, we'll treat down there. Generally, the concentration has been over by like the ice house or in the north end.
Jeff Bender, 6 Forest Way, got your beat, family 70 years at Lake Hayward. Yeah. Couple points and questions, I guess. One relates to the boat launch area, cleaning the bottoms of the boats, which I know is important and it's probably generally unenforceable. And we all see a lot of people on the lake, and it's been brought up in the past. And I know this is sort of an onerous issue, but it's been raised how important it is, or how critical it is, to keep that boat launch area open. And I know that's a little bit of heresy. I was told at one point that the state owns that, and then I've been told more recently that it doesn't. So it's kind of an open-ended question that I wanted to bring up. And the other thing that you mentioned is the algae in the lake. And so we don't need to have a big, long discussion because it would take too much time. Wolf Costi from the other side of the lake generously did a sort of a teaching session, and he's wonderful and he's very concerned. And just so people are aware, the cyanobacteria, the blue-green algae, is not affected by the herbicide treatment that goes on annually at the lake. And talk about lake water quality and having to keep our kids and grandkids out of the lake when there are algae blooms.
And the pets.
And the pets. That's really, really important. And so he mentioned that there are mitigation strategies like algicide and deep bubblers and other things that he said are very expensive. And so it's just something to think about for the future, because there are weeks of the summer where, in theory, we're supposed to keep our kids out of the water. So, thank you.
And you were the one, I remember at Wolf's presentation, and sent a number of the pictures in, so we appreciate your ongoing support on that. But Wolf's presentation, his PowerPoint that he gave last week, is available, I think, on the website. So go to the website. It was probably easier to read than it was here with the bright lights. But it's a very different, algae and plants are two different things. They kind of are green and they grow, but they are different. The cyanobacteria algae is a concern, and then we will close the beaches, so it's monitored regularly. There is a website that goes right to us called algae at Lake Hayward CT email address. Okay, so algae at Lake Hayward CT.com. And
So if you do see algae, or you think you see algae, send an email to that address.
Yeah, it's just that we're not doing anything to mitigate against the algae because those are involved and expensive approaches. And I don't, again, it's not for discussion today, and I'm sure it's not on the agenda, but just to raise it as something we might want to think and talk more about in the future. Yeah.
And then we are very much on it.
Yeah.
And one thing I will say, we talked about things like bubblers, and so we contract with a limnologist. In fact, on Monday, we have a conversation on the health of the lake, what some of the things are. So looking at things like that is on the docket. So once we get past the dam expense, we potentially can look at things like that help improve that. So overall, the health of the lake for Connecticut Lake, this size and this many people, it's not too bad.
Yeah.
So, but there are things we could do. Maybe one last question. I'm going over time here. Any other questions? Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you, Debbie.
All right. So We're supposed to go into properties right now, but I'm going to defer that because Julia is still busy. And I'm going to go into public safety. I just want to remind everybody, if you would like to speak, please come up to the microphone, state your name and address. Sorry, I neglected to say that in the beginning. So public safety, we have a little bit to talk about. As you know, there's been some changes. Last August, the community voted to go forward with having security. And with that, it took a few things to put in place. One was our parking pass program, which was discussed in great lengths, and also our rules and regulations. So in order to work with a security company and put all that in place, we worked hard this winter to get these things done. So, so we're pleased to announce that our security team will consist of off-duty officers. They'll be patrolling our community on Saturdays and Sundays starting July 4th and throughout the summer. Their presence is intended to help promote a safe, enjoyable environment for our residents and guests while encouraging compliance with our community rules and regulations. As part of the transition, your Board of Governors also completed a comprehensive update of the association's rules and regulations, replacing the previous 2014 version. This update was necessary not only to modernize outdated information, but also to ensure that our new security team has a current, consistent set of rules to enforce. So they will be enforcing the rules and regulations, not just parking. The revised rules and regulations became effective on June 8th and have been posted on the website, placed in the beach kiosks, and included in several recent newsletters, and also were put in an email blast. Please take a few minutes to review the revised rules and regulations so that everyone is familiar with the current rules and expectations. So this season will be a pilot season for the security program, and as we gain experience, we may adjust patrol times or schedules to better meet our community needs. We appreciate everybody's patience and cooperation as we work to make the program as effective as possible. Along with implementing security, we have also updated our parking pass program to better support enforcement. Each household will now receive 2 permanent windshield parking decals and 2 guest hang tags. While the format has changed, you are still receiving a total of 4 parking permits per household. The permanent windshield decals will make it easier for our security officers to quickly identify authorized vehicles, and we hope they will also eliminate the common problem of members forgetting to display their parking passes. The security people will be looking. So this is reducing the number of guest hang tags from 4 to 2 also helps protect the integrity of our parking pass program. Guest hang tags are intended for the temporary use of your guests while they are visiting, you, and they're not transferable. So over the years, we have instances where hang tags have remained with friends or family members after a visit, allowing them continued access to the facilities without the member present. We recognize that this is often unintentional, but is not consistent with the purpose of the program. So by limiting the number of guest hang tags to 2, we hope to reduce these situations while still providing members with ample flexibility for their guests. I know people lose them. I know things come and go, but I've had many people say to me already, I only have 1 or 2. Can I still get my passes today? Yes, you can get your passes today. Your numbers, all of the numbers will be defunct, even if you don't have them. But it was amazing how many people only had 1 or 2 now. It was interesting. So please remember that our goal is not to tow our own members. Our goal is simply to ensure that our limited parking is available for members who are legitimately using our facilities. Beginning this season, unauthorized vehicles will be subject to towing. We have also contracted with Belltown Motors to provide that service. We ask everyone to please display the appropriate decal or hang tag whenever using our beaches or other association facilities. this is what everybody wanted. So this is what the board listened. We've been listening for years. So I would also ask everyone to keep our parking limitations in mind. For example, First Beach has only about 25 parking spaces. Across all of our beaches and facilities, parking is still limited resource. With approximately 420 households and numerous lots, every property receiving 4 parking permits, it simply isn't possible for every permit holder to park at the beach at the same time. So, I mean, if you have 4 parking permits and perhaps you have your family coming, well, maybe you can down in 2 cars so that your neighbor can also come down and enjoy the beach. We only have so many parking spaces. So, you know, the system only works if we use it responsibly, right? So, we're hopeful these changes and together with the new security program will improve safety, increase fairness, and help all members enjoy Lake Hayward throughout the summer. And I do know years ago, it used to be, I think it was strictly a decal on your window. And I think you had like paper guest passes. And I guess at that point were being photocopied. So that really didn't work out so well either. So this is what we're trying now. And, you know, I know there are a few people that I did receive emails from that have, you know, a little bit of a hardship with it. But the only thing I could recommend is, you know, take those 2 guest passes, hang them in your cottage. If your kids come, let them use it. And then they can go to the beach and then put it back for their next child that comes or family member. I know we can all make this work. I think that, I think it's going to help. Like I said, our security and what everybody has been asking for. So, are there any questions?
I don't need to come up there. Linda Abel, Wildwood now, Wildwood Road, 86 Wildwood. The only problem I have, and I've always said this, please, you are a member, you get your tags, that you do not hand them out to your friends so that they can come and use our beaches. We pay a lot of money. Take a look. Take a look. Take a look at what we have here. We pay a lot of money to come down here and keep it nice. It's already happened down there at Second Beach to one of the members. And the person sits on the board. Okay? And this person told her, I used to own a house down here. I was a state cop. I'll come whenever I want, and I don't care if they're changing it, because I'll just get another one, because I know a lot of people. That's wrong. Very, very wrong. I don't need to be an SOB by saying that, but all have to work together.
Thank you, Linda.
So I said it a little nicer than Linda did. But Linda got her point across. You go, honey. So. Go ahead.
Tad Walmister, 48 Wildwood. One question I had is with the security and the passes. I see so many people launching at Second Beach that I don't think are members. And so that's something that I think should be addressed. There isn't even a sign there that says like launch for HOLA members only. So it's something to consider, that it could be better marked and also enforced.
Thanks, Ted. Actually, we were just talking about that, and we are also talking about, we should also have the same signage about drying your boat, and there is signage, and it is a state-owned boat launch. So they do have signage over there on how you're supposed to treat your boat. John?
John Gilmore, 203 Lakeshore. Obviously, with the overflow parking, it's on side streets. Our enforcement, what I've noticed is, I think there's people coming in from out of town parked on side streets. So the off-duty officers who patrol, will they have the ability to ticket on side streets for those who don't have parking passes? Because I think that occurrence still happens.
Unfortunately, no, because the side streets are not marked yellow.
Right.
However, they do have the right to ask if they're members.
Okay, so if they enter the beach, they have a right to ask if they're members.
Yes.
Turned away if they're not members.
Yes.
Okay. Second question or second comment is, people are parking very, very close to the corner, which I think is illegal. I think you need at least 15 feet on a corner. And it's a problem because people coming down the road, turning in, I've seen head-to-head traffic all the time. Occurring there. So we may want to look at asking the town to put up a sign.
You mean on Hayfield?
Well, in Hayfield, but I assume it occurs on other locations as well. There is a minimum distance from the corner to where you put park the car.
Okay, I'm actually meeting with the East Haddam, town police, so I will mention that to them. Thanks, John.
Diane Nelson, 24 Ridgewood Road. I've noticed that Deep has put out a new rule that they would like people to have, and that would help with the issue with the boats. They have a free tag, and I think we can probably call and get a lot of them. Because if a kayak goes over or boat goes over and someone notices it, it costs money for them to come and search for that person. But it's a tag that goes on the boat. It's bright orange. It has your name, your phone number. So they can call if this boat is floating upside down. And they can see if the person actually was on the boat, so they won't be coming back. If we all had these, it would protect us physically, but it would also save the state from search and rescue when there is not a need to search and rescue. So that's just a suggestion. I don't know if the board can call Deep to get these orange stickers that would go on all of our boats. And that would help you knowing, are they someone maybe that's here or not here?
So great point, Diane. And in the new rules and regulations, it states that there is a new public act. It's a state law now that you must put your contact information on the boat, whether it's an orange sticker or a Sharpie, but your name and address must go on the boat. And we have put this out in the newsletter. It's in the rules and regulations. And this year, we're saying if your name and address is not on your boat, we don't know who you are, and it's against the law. So next year, they will be removed from the racks. We'll pull them from the racks if they don't have them. But this year, we want everybody to get used to it. It's a state law. Please put your name and address on your boats. Paddle boards, boats, any water vessel. Thank you.
Good morning, Phil Sable, 15 Lookout Drive. One of the concerns I have with this new parking thing is that what's illegal and what's illegal? Parking in front of the tennis court, is that legal or illegal? Parking over here, is that legal or illegal? So I'm a little confused.
No,
People do.
it's a good question. So if there is parking in the parking lot,
Yep.
and you're not in the parking lot and on the grass, you'll be towed.
Okay, one more time.
If there is parking in the parking lot available and it is not a POALH sponsored event, specifically like this, you are subject to tow if you park on the grass.
If the lot is full.
If the lot is full and we have no parking in the parking lot, then we will allow for the overflow, especially if it's a POALH event.
So it's legal, but it's not legal.
No, if there is parking in the parking
If
lot,
I come down here and the parking lot is full,